Hello everyone, my name is Rederawl and welcome back to Nier Replicant. Now this episode we're in the Forest of Myth and I think we're trying to help everyone that's in the death stream, I think. It looks like it might be that way, yes.
This person must be dreaming too.
It would appear that way, yes.
Can't say I'm very excited to go back there. That dream world sorta creeps me out.
Perhaps you should spend less time complaining and more time getting on with the mission.
Yeah.
Is this going to be a lot of text again? Yep. I breathe air scented with death and resist the urge to laugh, for I know it will sound like the words of a madman. But how long have I been in this fresh hell? My box, my prison, is tucked beneath the stairway, in the long-used catacombs of some infinite castle. Outside I hear the sounds of a funeral dirge that plays without end. Light has no place here. Wind is a forgotten friend. I pray for death to come, but he forsakes me. Time passes and eternity slips by in a single tick of the clock. Someone knocks on my prison. Anyone there? I hear an unfamiliar voice say, "My saviour." I claw at the door of my jail, embedding thick splinters under my ragged nails. I scream for help. I laugh. I sob. Surely this is a product of my added mind. Surely it cannot be true. Help me, I cry. For the love of all the gods, help me. Impossibly, I hear the sound of a lock being torn out and falling to the floor. As the door slowly creaks open, I have just enough time to see a silver-haired boy in a floating book before the light pours inside. My eyes, accustomed to blackness, explode with pain, and I am forced to turn away. "Who are you?" I ask, shaking hands covering my face. "How have you come to this place?" "I am Grimoire Weiss. This is Rederawl. Long have we been searching for you. Now come, stand. We shall awaken from this nightmare together." The one known as Rederawl extends his hand and pulls me from the cell. Though my eyes are slow to adjust to freedom, my ears are keen as ever, and they recognize the staccato sounds of heavy rain. "I never thought to hear that again," I whisper. Would that this were not such a terrible storm," said Grimoire Weiss. "Look at your feet." I force my eyes open and see water pooling around my ankles and lapping at my shins. There's so much of it. Yes, and more comes each moment we delay. If we do not make good our escape, we shall all drown in this castle. We know you are weak, but you are our only hope to survive this place. Time that long-forgotten friend made itself known again. I nodded my head and swore to save my rescuers, no matter the cost. The castle catacombs are a maze, twisting upon themselves like the endless entrails of a giant. I squint down at the dim corridors and proceed north. Okay. Oh. At the end of the corridor, I find a row of 20 gorgeous canopied beds resting atop a carpet of velvet. All are covered in a thick layer of dust and cobwebs. Searching for the door to the next room, I come upon a shapeless mass of grey matter. It has been shoved against the side of the wall, and despite my fever, I think I see the outlines of a door just beyond. When I reach out a finger and touch a piece of the mass, it turns to dust and drifts away in the wind. Realization slowly dawns, and I fall to my knees and weep. Corpses. I face a mountain of charred and crumbling corpses. I look from it to the beds and back again until the horror dawns full upon me. Someone has piled these bodies into a tower and set them ablaze. Whether they are alive or dead, I do not know, and sanity will not permit me to consider the proposition further. I make a sound, whether scream or laughter I cannot be certain. Then my mind grants me merciful blackness, and I find myself opening the door and leaving that most terrible of rooms. I squint down at the dim corridors and proceed east or proceed south. Does it make any difference? That's... Well, actually, if I head south, that'll lead me back to where I started. I squint down the dim corridors and proceed west or north. North. I squint down the dim corridors and proceed... Great, I have no idea which way to go now. South? West. South. The water has risen to my chin and now laps greedily at my mouth and nose. You dumb bastard, shouts Rederawl. He surely desires to say more, but the rest of his insult is cut short by the rising water. Grimoire Weiss, wet and tattered, floats on the water's surface. It is already too late for him. This wasn't how it was supposed to end. Oh, okay, I just killed this. Okay, so there's a definite way that this has to be done. So just need to figure it out. Whoop. Let's try that again. So at the start you have to proceed north. In a corridor, find 20 gorgeous canopy beds, all covered in a thick layer of dust and cobwebs. Come upon a shapeless mass of grey matter and shoved against the side of the wall, and despite my fear I think I see the outlines of a door just beyond. When I reach out a finger and touch a piece of the mass, it turns to dust and drifts away in the wind. Realizing it slowly dawns and I fall to my knees and weep. Corpses. Well, you head back where you started. East. So if I go north and east and north again, north, east, north, east again? Does that work? Great hall with only the sounds of rain for comfort. The waterlogged red carpet squishes beneath my feet as I approach the centre of the room. Once there, behold a beautiful dining table upon which rests china and silver of the finest construction, as well as the remains of a fantastic feast. As my eyes continue to adjust, I see many chairs surrounding the table, each holding a dinner guest. Noticing movement, I approach the chair at the table's head, but as the truth of the matter dawns on me, I recoil in horror. The host of the feast is a corpse, as are all the invited guests. An army of foul, wriggling insects have made homes in their remains, and this is the moment I saw. This once splendid feast was now nothing more than a requiem for the damned. I take a moment to steady my shaking hands, then slowly back away from the table. Desperate to lose sight of the abomination before me, my gaze lands on the chairs upon where the dead were seated. This is a mistake, for the chairs prove to be even more terrible than the feast itself. Each one is covered in a layer of spikes that run from the seat, up the back, and down the arms. This explains the colour of the carpet beneath my feet. I can only pray that the unfortunate diners were dead when the meal began. For if not, it is a simple task to envision the agonized screams that must have sprung forth from their mouths. The mind grasps fanatically at the possibility that these souls have committed some terrible crime for which this was punishment. Though in truth, I suspect they had committed no crime at all. There would be no tomorrow for these unfortunates. This was their last supper. I squint down at the dim corridors. So, Northeast, northeast, north. Against all hope, we make it to the front door. Break it down, someone cries, and so I give myself to the effort. In tandem with Rederawl and Grimoire Weiss, I slam my body against a thick, sturdy door. On the third try, it gives way, and we find ourselves sprawled on the ground outside the castle. The storm is in retreat. The clouds are still dark and foreboding, but to the west I can see a thin shimmer of sunlight trying to break through. How can I thank you? I cry as tears join the rain on my cheeks. I would surely have died in there. Looking down, I suddenly notice that my dress is in tatters, and sheepishly try to cover up my exposed skin. Your dress? Asked Weiss. Then you're a woman, madam? I am. I proffer the two a smile. I suppose that comes as something as a surprise, seeing as how I exist only in the form of words. I can see that the one known as Rederawl is disappointed that the taunt dress will be given no further description, but he hides it well. With a nod and a shrug, the three of us set forth to our awakening. But behind us, an awakening of another kind is taking place. Black smoke fills the abandoned castle, providing the countless damned souls inside with their final shroud. After a moment, the castle's windows shatter with a mighty roar. Sorry. A fresh breeze blows through the hallways and corridors, clearing the smoke away for good. As we watch in awe, uncountable black shadows slowly flicker to life, crossing to and fro in front of the broken windows. The castle's dead have awakened to their new life as shades.
You have anything to say about that?
Hopefully there will be no labyrinth next time.
That would be nice.
I hear that.
Okay, more text to read. This is unfortunately how it is at the moment, just constant text. Next.
And another victim. This work certainly is trying.
I figured a book like you would be into all this word stuff, Weiss.
He does have a point.
Even I have my exceptions. Now let's be off.
A colony of massive sculptures was visible in the distance, their tall forms scraping against the sky. Weiss and Rederawl had never seen such a sight, and their eyes widened as they tried to take it in.
Those buildings must be huge if we can see them from this far away. What do you think, Weiss?
As Weiss considered his answer, the sun beat down on them with renewed ferocity.
Perhaps they are some manner of mirage,
he said. Under this heat, a mirage or two would hardly be an unexpected sight. Rederawl nodded and wiped the sweat off his brow, leaving a trail of sand in its place. He thought he'd never been so thirsty. The ancient road on which they walked was black and cracked with age, here and there with thin wisps of grass pushed up through the rocky surface, as if denying those who had laid this material down over their home. The heat reflecting from the road made Rederawl light-headed. His feet hurting, he crouched down to rest. I don't know how much longer I can do this. Is someone playing a joke on us or what? The complaining had already begun. Weiss tried not to let his eyes roll too much. A joke? He said. No joke. This road leads to the city of art. Perhaps the path itself is simply some manner of grand artistic work. You don't sound very sure of yourself there. Perhaps not, but thinking of it this way might make it easier for you to bear. Rederawl glanced at Weiss's grinning face, shook his head, and resumed walking. As time passed, Rederawl's feet grew more painful, and his throat drier than he thought possible. He tried not to look further than the next step ahead, because the bright sunlight made him hesitant to trust his own senses. "We are definitely getting closer," said Weiss, in an effort to cheer his companion. "Yes, this much is certain." Encouraged, Rederawl lifted his gaze. Suddenly he stopped walking, choosing instead to stand in the middle of the road, with his mouth and eyes wide open and his finger pointing in the distance. "Water?" he cried. "It's water." "Water?" asked Weiss. "Preposterous, I don't see any water." "Over there, just ahead of us. Look, the sun is reflecting off it." Without waiting for a response, Rederawl sprang to life and bounded toward the sight. What in the... There was no water. There was nothing but sand in every direction. Rederawl closed his eyes and sighed as Weiss floated up behind him and chuckled softly. "I believe this is known as mirage," he said. "Many a desert traveller has spoken of such things." Rederawl shook his head, bewildered. Suddenly he pointed off in the distance, his eyes wide once more. Wait, there it is. I just missed it. Look, it's right there." Rederawl sprinted off again, leaving Weiss with no choice but to follow. After a few minutes of running, Rederawl came to a halt. "I could have sworn it was right around here." Confused, he put his hands up to his eyes and rubbed them vigorously. As soon as he stopped, he noticed a blue, shimmering pool of clear water just over the next rise. With a shout, he bounded off in search for it. The chase continued for nearly an hour, until an exasperated Weiss finally floated up to Rederawl and struck him in the face with his cover. "Enough, you blithering idiot. Stop this at once. There is no water here." Rederawl's face clouded. "There isn't?" "There is not, and perhaps next time you'll listen to me when I tell you as much." Weiss paused for a moment, then continued speaking in a slightly kinder tone. "However, I suppose this mad chase was not altogether wasted. It seems we have arrived in the City of Art." Rederawl looked up, stretched out before him as a row of impossibly tall structures. Their journey was at an end. "They're huge," cried Rederawl, completely forgetting the heat and the pain of the past few hours. "I've never seen anything so big." Each sculpture was formed from roughly the same shape. A tall rectangle that stretched up toward the sky, but there is where the similarities ended. Most were covered with panes of glass that reflected light in 1,000 directions, while others seemed to be nothing but frames of steel. Some had tall spires on their tops, while others possessed triangular caps. "What kind of city is this?" said Rederawl. "Where are the people? Where are the houses?" "Perhaps the land is intended exclusively for artistic use." The debate continued as they made their way through the city. Miracles of artistry were everywhere. Great iron crates with wheels sat silent on steel rails. Beautifully carved works with lights of red, amber and green dangled over every street. As they moved away from the massive sculptures, they found a great array of small ones. Some were covered in Some were covered in glass or brick, but many were composed of materials they had never before encountered. The sheer variety of colours and styles was staggering. Unable to find a theme or purpose to the abstract works around them, Rederawl and Weiss eventually fell silent. On the outskirts of the city, they discovered 3 sculptures in the shape of humans. Rederawl uttered a sigh of relief as he approached them. Finally, I was getting tired of modern art. 3 statues were indistinguishable except for a single word chiseled into their right arms. One read Alpha, one read Beta, and the final one read Gamma. As Rederawl moved to touch the nearest statue, a bird flew from the top of one of the sculptures. Alighting on the statue's shoulder, it emitted a brief, beautiful song that took the form of words. Only one form is real, the others are false. The real form will always speak the truth. The false ones will only speak lies. With that, the bird departed. As if on cue, the three statues shuddered to life, acquiring colour and form as they began to breathe. "Hey, look at that," said Rederawl. "They're alive." The triplets bowed low before Rederawl. "Please," said Alpha. "You have to get me out of this nightmare. I am real." "Stop lying," said Beta. He turned to Rederawl and threw his hands in the air. "Alpha's a fake, you know. I'm the real one." "What a load of crap," said Gamma. "Beta is a fake. Everyone knows I'm the only real one around here." Their respective pleas given, the three statues returned to the frozen state. Silence once again enveloped the city. When you consider all of the statements, only one of them could be the real thing, said Weiss. Rederawl furrowed his eyebrows and considered his answer. Only one is real, the others are false. The real form will always speak the truth. The false ones will only speak lies. I really think it's Alpha because Beta and Gamma both only insult. They don't actually say, yeah. So let's try Alpha and see what happens. The real one is Alpha. The eyes of the statue shone with an eerie light. The light grew stronger and stronger until Rederawl and Weiss were forced to turn away. Oh, it was Alpha by looks.
It would seem we failed.
Oh.
Yeah.
You'd best act more carefully next time.
This is the worst job ever.
Okay, so I got that wrong this time, so let's try it again. You have to get me out of this nightmare. I am real. Stop lying. Alpha is a fake, you know, I am the real one. Beta is a fake, everyone knows that I am the real one around here. I don't think it'll be Gamma because he says I'm the only one real around here. But there's Rederawl and Weiss. So I'm gonna say it's probably Beta. That's my guess. The other thing is that the middle one says the real form will always speak the truth, and it's in the middle, so I don't know. I could be overthinking this, but I'm gonna go with Beta this time. The real one is Beta. Though Rederaw's voice betrayed a notable lack of confidence, he was relieved to see Weiss nodding at him. If Alpha were telling the truth, began Weiss in dry tones of a lecture, Beta and Gamma would be fakes. But in that case, Gamma claim that Beta is fake would be the truth, even though Gamma is a liar. Therefore, that theory crumbles. Yeah, that is very true. Now let us presume that Gamma spoke the truth. That makes Alpha and Beta liars. In this situation, however, Beta is calling Alpha a liar, which will leave us with two statues telling the truth. Yeah, okay. Finally, let us assume that Beta is telling the truth. If so, Alpha and Gamma's lies would make sense. Therefore, Beta must be real. As Weiss finished his explanation, Alpha and Gamma crumbled soundlessly into dust. while Beta sprang to life once more. "Congratulations, villager," said Weiss in a cheerful voice. "The time to awaken has arrived." "Thank you for saving me," cried the villager. He dropped to his knees and bowed his head as low as he could go before an uncomfortable Rederawl pulled him to his feet. "Why did you have a dream like this?" asked Weiss. "Have you been to this city before?" The villager slowly looked around at the bizarre objects and sculptures that dotted the landscape, then shook his head. I don't think so. I mean, it's impossible, right? There's no way I've been to a place like this. But at the same time, I feel like I've seen it before." "Deja vu," muttered Rederawl, "just like the mayor." The vague sense of unease that struck Rederawl during the mayor's dream spread once more through his mind.
That was rough.
I am positive I have seen that place before.
Okay, that's enough. Don't need you getting all weird on me too. Okay, there. Now all the villagers can wake up, right?
Yes, if the mayor's assumption was correct. I think I have had enough wordplay to last a lifetime. Thank you very much.
Yes, I really hope there's no more, because I've had enough of it as well.
You're telling me. Anyway, let's go see the mayor.
The mayor we go. Just when I thought our frame rate issues were all sorted, it's just come back once again. Well, anyway, I'm going to finish this episode here, so thank you all very much for watching. Make sure that you subscribe for more Nier Replicant content, and make sure that you smash the like button, and until next time, see ya.